Hey, everybody. It's me, Queenie Brown. Thank you so much for joining me today for the Self Love Lessons Read Along. We are on day 20, episode 20, and I'm excited to get into today's conversation. We're going to be talking about the principle of self love. So, we are reading the self love lesson, 7 lessons every woman must learn about herself and the power of womanhood. And if you're just joining us, please feel free to go to queeniebrown.com and download your free copy so that you can read along. We've been making great strides in the book, and it's been quite impactful. So those of you who have reached out to me, thank you. And so as we go today, I want you to go ahead and chat back at me. Let me know if there's something that I say that kind of hits you in the city of your soul. And do that throughout this reading because it will help you get more meat off the bone, right? So, we've been talking about lesson number 1, how to know where you are now so you can get where you're going. And we've been talking a little bit about our love account and what builds it up and what depletes it and what happens when it's depleted and how we can move through that. And so, today we're going to go a little bit deeper. We're going to talk about the principle of self love. So, before we do, it's time for roll call. If you're watching live, do indicate hashtag present in the comments. If you're watching the replay, you are welcome to join us. Hashtag replay. If you're a girl mom, give me a hashtag girl mom. And if you're a fella, welcome to the journey. You are welcome here. Put hashtag fella just so that I know you're watching. Okay, and then what else do I want to include? Be sure to share this with your friends, right? This is free, and we're reading through the self love lessons, and it's going to impact your lives in ways that I cannot even quantify. This is actually not something that I sat down and said, oh, let me write a book on self love because I have all the answers. Wish that were the case, but it's not. God wrote this book through me, to me, to help me learn how to love me. And I published it back in 2011. And my life has gone through some pretty major transitions in the past couple of years. So God told me at the beginning of December to revisit the lessons, and that's what we're doing here. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump in. We are starting on page 113. Let me put it up here for you. The principle of self-love. When I think of a selfless woman, here's the picture I see. Imagine a woman holding a clothing pouring out of a closed basket in one hand, cooking utensils on a belt with a cell phone earpiece in her ear. She has a child connected by a leash on one leg, and she's wearing a t-shirt that reads number one mom, wife, teacher, nurse, maid, chauffeur, sex object, and doormat. Her face looks defeated as sweat falls down her brow. Her eyes are tired and tears fall down her face. She has a bubble over her head that reads, can I do that for you? Do you need me to pray for you? No, I couldn't ask you to do that for me. She looks pitifully ridiculous, doesn't she? Excuse me. Beneath her picture, the caption reads, please feel sorry for me and offer to help. You should know that I can't handle all of this alone. Why won't somebody come to my rescue? Of course, I'm overextended, but it's not my fault. Why won't anybody help me? What does it mean to be selfless? The American Heritage Dictionary defines it as showing perceived unselfish concern for the welfare of others, having, exhibiting, or motivated by little or no concern for oneself, or unselfish. Many of us have learned this message growing up that selflessness is the posture for women. We've embraced its martyrdom and we blindly celebrate our own selflessness. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this is not cute. Not at all. There's no glory in being a doormat. There's no benefit to you or them when you operate out of depletion. Although the facts show that everyone else is happy and being well cared for, the truth is that everyone is happy but you. And why shouldn't they be happy? They have their own personal assistant. They have it made. You're the one who's depleted spiritually, physically, socially, emotionally, and most important, and most likely financially. It's not such a pretty picture anymore, is it? What's even worse is the game of guilt that you entertain yourself with. You allow yourself to be convinced that if you weren't all those things to all those people in your life, then they wouldn't love you, need you, appreciate you, or respect you. You've made it up in your mind that somehow you would lose that prestigious title of doormat that you so proudly have tattooed across your forehead. Is it really worth it? So, what's the truth? Not just the facts, but the truth. Here comes the tough love. The truth is that being selfless enables those you love to not take responsibility, to not learn independence, and to be lifelong takers. You're teaching them that it's okay to mistreat others and that it's okay for a woman to be taken advantage of. You're showing them how to get what they need from someone else without having to give any or very little of themselves in return. You're teaching them that they should expect to be cared for by everyone or someone. It's the absolute worst message that you can teach to a young boy because it communicates to him that he never needs to take ownership of his manhood. Essentially, it prevents him from ever learning the responsibility and discipline that God needs him to learn in order to lead a family. Additionally, it's a positively self defeating message to teach a young girl. You provide her with the training ground that prepares her to become a victim. You reinforce a negative image of womanhood while giving her a lifelong excuse to settle for less in her life. Instead, she needs to be taught about the strength and power that womanhood embodies. If your life is what she has to look forward to, then why would she ever want to grow up? Hang in there. I'm going to wrap it in love in just a minute. But right now, you really need to get a clear picture of what your martyrdom is creating. This self proclaimed martyrdom has no real benefit for anyone involved. You may want to believe that you're benefiting by keeping the peace, that you're not by not inconveniencing others and by acquiescing in the face of confrontation. However, I invite you to think about all of the women who lived before you that embraced their role as a woman with confidence, strength, and power, and did not succumb to the manipulation of martyrdom. Yes, I said it. It is manipulation, and truthfully, it's a deep seated selfishness that's rooted in fear. Yes, I said that too, and there's more. So, what's the big payoff? Why are you choosing to put so much on the line? If we do all these things that we know are out of order and that so obviously deplete us, we believe that it gives us the leverage to be able to demand the love we need. We believe that we've earned the right to fuss and complain while our families and friends have to sit and hear it because I've done so much for you, right? We turn that same guilt that we allow to keep us in this bondage, onto those we love, and we attempt to manipulate them into doing what we want or need them to do, which is love us, right? The sad reality is that this often backfires because we've taught them not to care at all about our needs. They tend to think we're overreacting or making too much out of the small things. Any help that they do offer and every change that they make is very temporary because they know you. They know that all they have to do is give a little for a little while, and you'll fall right back into line doing what you've always done. It's a sick, twisted game that needs to stop today. Did you hear me? It must stop today. Why? Because you're so much bigger than that. What you have to contribute is so much greater than that silly game you engage in with your family and friends. Y'all all right? Before we go a step further, I want you to recognize that you aren't in this place because you're a bad person. Most often, we people pleasers are the nicest, most thoughtful, generous, and loving people there are out there. I know you're awesome, and you know it too. At least you should know it because God thinks so. The problem is this: as long as you take on the responsibilities of everyone else, you'll never be able to take on the responsibilities that God has specifically assigned for you to complete. You see, no one can accomplish your assignment but you. No one has your gifts, no one has your talents, no one has lived your experiences, and no one has the wisdom that you have gained. Your assignment is your own, just as I have my own. Okay, brace yourself, girlfriend. This is the hardest part yet. Next, we will work together to fix this mess that both you and I have carefully and tirelessly created. Breathe. And don't allow yourself to be afraid, offended, or become judgmental as you read the next few lines. What you must understand fully is that as long as you continue to embrace this selflessness, you are making a clear choice to operate in idolatry. Wait, let me explain. You have an assignment that is what God's word says about you. Your assignment is not your job, it's not your kids, it's not your family, and it's not your hobby. It's your purpose, and it's the problem that you were created to solve. It's the specific reason why God chose you. Out of the 500 million sperm cells that could have fertilized the egg in your mother's womb, you were the one to swim the fastest, break the surface, begin the life process, endure the birthing process, and enter into this world as a woman, powerful in every sense of the word. You are the one He chose to complete your assignment. No one can get it done but you. No one is equipped to complete it but you. So you can so you can stay busy as a martyr, or you can get moving and find out what your purpose is and what your instructions are to fulfill it. You can't do both. Can you imagine the woman I described earlier saying, "Okay, Lord, bring it on. I'm ready to do what I've been born to do"? Of course not. Even if God said it, you know as well as I do that that woman cannot even fit another item onto her plate, not the way her life is running now. All I have, I give. When you live your life as a giver, you will inevitably be surrounded by takers. Without the right mindset, you can find yourself offended, feeling taken advantage of, and always wondering if your friends are there out of genuine love or just until the well runs dry. That's part of the problem with selflessness. Someone benefits and someone over a period of time doesn't. That's clearly not the way God designed the system. Selflessness creates an imbalanced system of lack and poverty, not abundance. I know this selfless woman intimately because she is me. I gave everything I had and everything I was completely away. And then I felt that I was within my rights to demand compensation or recompense for what I had lost. That was wrong, and I was wrong. It was misplaced responsibility. No one is responsible for ensuring that my needs are met. That's God's responsibility and God within me. When I live my life in an imbalanced way out of a misinterpretation of my own responsibility to me, I can blame no one but myself. I and God within me am responsible for me. That's the lesson we each must learn, and it's the lesson we also must teach. As long as we assume the responsibilities of others, we inhibit their growth and add stress and confusion into our own lives. We were created to help, but there's a way to help without hindering. We've got to learn how to help in the way that God intended. So what's the solution? Well, girlfriend, I asked the billion dollar. Well, girlfriend, you asked the billion-dollar question. Before we can answer that question, let's look at the opposite end of the spectrum. So we're going to pause here, and tomorrow we're going to begin the conversation about being selfish, which is the other end of the self-love continuum. So thank you so much for joining me today. Today we read about being self. Sorry. There we go. We talked about being selfless and the pain that it creates. And all of us have operated in all of these, right? We all can grow from these lessons. And um, of course, I've been there too. So this was a tough pill to swallow. And as I told you before, this is a revisit for me. God told me to reread this so that I would be reminded myself. And I was told to bring you on the journey with me. So I hope it's blessing you. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to leave me a comment. Join the community, the Mother Love community. Right now, we're going to go in there and have a quick conversation. Just take a little bit of the meat off the bone from this lesson today. I know it was a tough love lesson, and I pray that it blessed you, even though it was a little hard to hear, even for me. But we get to rise through this, right? We get to grow out of the stuff that's keeping us stuck, the stuff that's keeping us from walking in our purpose and our power as women and as creators, as gods, right? All right, y'all be blessed. Make sure you share the link with your friends. Tell them to go to the www.queeniebrown.com and download their copy. Join me in the Mother Love community. And if you're a mom and you have a daughter, go to themotherdaughterjournal.com and download your copy. No, you can't download there, but learn about the Mother Daughter Journal. It is a faith-based mother's mentorship tool designed to build and heal the mother-daughter bond. And it's incredibly impactful. There are video lessons to support you, mom. And I'm sure that it'll make a huge impact in your relationship with your daughter. And if you have challenges in your relationship with your mom, we need to talk. I have some tools and resources to support you. So definitely reach out. All right. God bless. And I'll see you in the Mother Love community right now. Join me. Take good care.